The main reason why Hollywood is failing right now at a record rate is the fact that we have a lot of Hollywood celebrities just spouting their nonsense, pushing their own political narrative onto the general public, onto their own fans and longtime loyal supporters that are now walking away in droves and no longer supporting the many actors, actresses, writers, and directors out there that represent Hollywood. And that's exactly why a lot of these movies are just either failing at the box office or their budgets are going way, way down to the point where you're not getting as quality-made films as you once did 5, 6, 7 years ago. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. You can also follow me at Mike01. I thank you all so very much for the great and kind support. Now, we know that there's a lot of things going on when it comes down to top names out there like Robert De Niro and among others, like for example when you're looking at Tom Hanks, George Clooney, Julia Roberts, pushing the typical anti-Trump narrative and telling you how to think, telling you how to vote, or telling you what to believe in or how to live your daily lives, and also calling the American people uneducated is at the top of the list here as to why people are just no longer supporting these many actors. What's interesting, though, has a lot more to do with Mel Gibson and his take on Will Smith. Now, we know that Will Smith has been getting quite overly political in recent months, especially after the backlash surrounding his concert tour. We'll talk more about that down the road. Fortunately, we do have people like Sylvester Stallone, Mel Gibson, Tim Allen, and more that do have a very, good head on their shoulders and really think very much with common sense. However, with endless Hollywood celebrities still taking advantage of the Charlie Kirk assassination and the government shutdown to push their anti-Trump agenda and talking points on their own, of course, onto their own fans. One significant development going on now involves more to do with actor Mel Gibson, who decided to call out Will Smith over mocking Charlie Kirk and President Trump, of course, while promoting his new film Hunting Season. Mel Gibson went on to deliver the following. Everyone knows this as much as I do, but I'm a true American patriot and I never take my country for granted with the freedom that we do have. And unfortunately, it's something that celebrities are trying to take away from us every single day. When I look at actors like Will Smith going on and on about their hateful views of President Trump and Charlie Kirk, for example, it just makes me sick to my stomach, man, to see actors like him causing so many issues within our industry, and in such a way after a fine young man lost his life in front of hundreds of people on campus. It's maddening that this is what Hollywood has come to, and actors like Will Smith are contributing nothing beneficial and positive to this country and society that takes pride in the freedom that we do have. The problem, and the problem that I think many of these actors have, is that they simply do not understand that there is no such thing as freedom of consequences. Just like how his own fans walked away after he slapped Chris Rock, which was absolutely embarrassing to see that on live television. How does he expect people to react when you are going off on our president and politicizing what happened to Charlie? And this just doesn't go for Smith. I'm also looking at many recognizable names out there like Robert De Niro, Jane Fonda, and Stephen King, who have endlessly lied about Charlie Kirk without remorse, even after getting caught. We are all human beings at the end of the day, and we have to divide politics from entertainment, simply put. It just all needs to stop. So guys, let me just say one thing about Mel Gibson and what he's right about here is that yes, they do have to divide politics from entertainment. I don't care if it's music or film or television, whatever it may be, even comedy, unless you're a political comedian. When you divide politics from entertainment, you really do prevent alienating your audience. Whether you're an actor, a writer, director, it doesn't matter out there. He's on point here that you have to divide that. It just is a must thing to do right now in Hollywood. Now, he goes on to continue, Hollywood, the film industry, the industry that gave me beautiful opportunities over the decades and memories that I will never forget, is now nothing more than a propaganda machine, sadly. And we have to turn the tide. Something just needs to be done, and I think looking at Jennifer Lawrence and what she said surprised me, coming from someone like her, is that celebrities do not change the outcome of an election or a political movement. And more actors like Will Smith really need to get with the program already and understand that yes, freedom of speech does exist. As much as these celebrities try to lie to you, the American people the American people that freedom of speech is dead. No, it is absolutely alive and well. Now guys, let me say one thing about that as well. The fact that Gibson is touching on that subject, that yes, a lot of celebrities, they do keep going on that constant trope that freedom of speech is dead, that it is no longer in existence. That is also a big lie, and they keep getting mixed up, as as Mel Gibson points out about Will Smith, that they are getting mixed up between freedom of speech and freedom of consequences, right? They believe that they could say whatever they want to say by getting away with any consequence, whether it's losing fans or losing opportunities in business or whatever it may be. That's exactly, the mindset of George Clooney, Robert De Niro, Will Smith, and many others out there. Julia Roberts is another example. He goes on to conclude, and it never did, and I will be damned if fans of his continue to support him after his views on the American people, calling them uneducated. It's just disheartening to see that Hollywood is flipped upside down, he says. We need a new town to take care of business and to create movies from the ground up. And you know what? I agree with Mel Gibson on this, is that they do need a new town. They do need a new destination to create brand new movies, right from the get-go. And really dividing it from politics and the typical agenda that so many people are just tired of, whether it's, the typical DEI agenda that's been going on for years and years, and sure, that's been phased out by some studios, but some studios are still latching on to that, unfortunately. You do have the Walt Disney Company, who is still pushing DEI, because let's face it, the top 3 shareholders are pushing that narrative for Disney investors, for, the Disney board of directors to actually stick with that. Now, let's think of this, alright? When you're looking at Mel Gibson, Sylvester Stallone, Tim Allen, Matthew McConaughey even, you have a lot of actors out there that are 100% against what Hollywood is doing right now, what the film industry is doing right now, and what they've been doing since like 2015, 16, absolutely for sure. I think that there's a great possibility that you could very well see a new alternative to Hollywood, because when you're looking at a lot of Hollywood films right now, right, everything is pretty much not original anymore. Everything's either a sequel or a remake or something around those lines. And if they do try to create something original, it's just lackluster because they don't really have the heart or the passion put into those projects. So when you're looking at things like this, I think that yes, we do need an alternative to Hollywood. I think that you're going to see over the next couple of years more indie films rising, that's for sure. I think you're going to see more examples of that. But when you're looking at someone like Will Smith, and I pointed this out a couple of days ago, the fact that he's getting more and more political, I think it has a lot to do with the fact that his concert tour absolutely failed. I mean, it was abysmal, to the point that he got very defensive toward even his own fans, and they walked away, and how he's acting out now against Charlie Kirk supporters, Trump supporters, and more, and getting overly political to the point that, yeah, he's alienating his fan base, or whatever's left of his fan base now, after, of course, the whole Oscar slap situation since 2022, and it's not looking good for Will Smith. But overall, I would like to hear what you all have to say about this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I'll catch you guys later.